I was thinking the other day about, with the Lenten season and Easter coming up upon us, this would be a good time to pull together some thoughts I had about the power of faith, and oftentimes I really focus on faith in the day-to-day motivations people have um, to handle their own lives, to carry a positive or hopeful attitude into what they do, so as not to be overwhelmed with the setbacks that day-to-day life can deliver. But particularly I was thinking about the faith that people have kind of in a religious context, because in this country it's largely a religious country, even though a growing number of people would really focus on, insist that they're not religious, they're spiritual, but nevertheless it's kind of a one where one starts and where the other finishes. I don't know. But I saw a story on tonight. It was about the group of archaeologists that just put together a documentary about, or a documentary was done about them finding this tomb and supposedly laying the groundwork for disproving the resurrection, and something like this comes out almost every Lenten season every year. It makes for good hype, it makes for good controversy, and makes for good advertising dollars for the publishing and media industries. But it got me thinking about the sheer power of the story behind the resurrection, and I'm not one to read religious teachings, religious scriptures literally in a stupid way, but I do read them for saying what was intended, saying what was meant to say at the time. A lot of skeptics I've noticed over the years, and I've read a lot on these subjects just as a very interesting layperson, or interested layperson. A lot of skeptics kind of try to set up a kind of a straw man, kind of paint the scriptures of a religion as kind of in the most simplistic, mythical way, so that you can easily make an argument to disprove the ridiculous. It's like wrestling a scarecrow to the ground. But one of the kind of arguments I most frequently hear skeptics make, and myself, I was raised in a Protestant background, but I've heard a lot of skeptics make arguments, and particularly they'll pick out the Catholic Church and point to, this is the church that did the Inquisition. This is a church that holds all these zillions of dollars in property around the world. This is the church that turns the other way, and ignoring priests who are pedophiles and that kind of thing. And they will make those kind of arguments somehow to kind of undermine the validity of any of the teachings involved. Now, there's a wide range or wide diversity within just Christian religions, sects, denominations, about exactly what they believe chapter and verse, but there's but I think there's a lot of unity in the point that I'm thinking about, which is somehow it's like over 2,000 years. The story of the resurrection has stayed and been passed down, passed down, passed down. There's few, if any, stories that have the constancy of repetition. Even more important, the stories, the teachings of Jesus at that time have been passed down and passed down and passed down. And it would be nice, of course, if people would worry about a lot less about the chapter and verse of exactly what did or did not happen according to science, as if science ever reached a final conclusion on anything. I mean, it was till a while ago that they thought the atom was the smallest thing, and we're constantly dealing with people who are trying to remake the rest of the world, while they really should be thinking about remaking themselves. But back to the point of the story. Somehow, no matter how big, how rich a church gets, no matter how a church may get detoured off onto political or military or other distractions, no matter how corrupt people in a church may become, no matter how depraved some people might be while they serve in the church, no matter how misguided might be some of the things that a church as an organization or the people in religion may be at times, somehow they're stuck with this story. They wouldn't survive without the story. And there's just something about the story that has its own power. There's an essential truth there, is what I would conclude. And part of the power of the story now, if maybe a big part, is the believers have infused the story with their strength. Over time, this is less a story and more a very loud, voluminous statement of faith and conviction. And the point isn't to try and prove or disprove the fine letters of the story. It's to realize why it is that it is so powerful, that there is an essential truth there. And you don't have to be a conventionally defined Christian to do. You can probably use these this same approach, this same angle, to look at other teachings in other faiths, where people are making a sincere, honest, a sincere quest for spirituality, for meaning, for something that is truer than the falsehoods that are presented by cynical, political, commercial, and other exploitative organizations. Like it or not, religion is here because it's the best package that we've been able to come up with to convey, to carry on the spiritual and faith realms of our lives. It's imperfect because we are.